let's get into the next match here. Again, it is Gale Force going up against Method as league play continues for RLCS Season 4. With the commentary, Shogun and Bindable Carpet, take it away, guys.
There are so many questions to be answered here. Can Method go 4-0? Can Gale Force resubmit their championship credentials? And more importantly, does Carpet's knee still hurt?
It's okay. Yeah, right before we came here, I felt like my knee just like popped out of place and got a little dislocated.
I thought you banged it.
No,
oh, that's
no,
way
it's just,
scarier.
I just like turned and I just like felt it do something weird and cheeky. Doing something cheeky. I'm giving you 5 seconds. Who's going to win?
Gale Force.
Oh,
I picked
right.
Gale Force.
You did it.
Main reason for that is because I checked up on this. The last 4 times these teams have played, Gale Force have taken them. Spoke to Turbo Pulsar earlier on. We were trying to figure out whether or not Method have actually got a win over Gale Force. He does believe that there was at least one somewhere in there. But these two teams, the majority of the rivalry has gone on the side of Method. I have to go with them.
Did you see how Method played earlier, though?
Yeah, it was pretty nuts.
That was pretty good, man.
And if you haven't seen how Method played earlier on, then I cannot recommend it anymore. But do it after you watch the whole of this broadcast. We've got some very good games still left to play today. Game number 1 between Gale Force and Method. Let's do it to it. Already in the corner, Method just going to be able to get rid of that very quickly. A team that prides itself on the speed that they play at. Very slow in their earlier series against Method. Sluggish in those opening 2 games. They'll be looking to try and settle themselves up very well in this opening game. Both these teams with huge comebacks as well. Method with the reverse sweep. Gale Force eSports taking Excel, who had a 3-goal lead against them, beating them in overtime. So neither of these teams ever to be counted out.
Yeah, nothing too risky being taken by either team right now. You can see both using the backboard, trying to keep it clean, looking for mistakes, trying to see how antsy these teams are to pull out a defense.
Long ball, looking for that backboard, but Magnus powers it back into the middle of the field. Both these teams trying to assert dominance. In that midfield area, Magnus with the flick up. That's going to be allowing the Violent Panda to move himself in. But that backboard is being covered every single time. 2 players haven't been committed though. But the rotation is somewhat slow on the Gale Force end. Once again, trying to use that backboard. This time it is working out a lot better, but they cannot convert. Can they do it this time? A lot with the save. And Metanaris will turn around, put the handbrake on, and get it back into the corner. But Gale Force eSports with the vast majority of the early pressure.
And it definitely feels like they have more than the 3 shots that have registered for them. At least 5 opportunities, some unable to be connected, as you said. Oh, Metanaris completely grounded, not ready for that.
I love the way that they adapted there. Okay, backboard isn't working. How can we change this? Oh, there's a K-dot for me to pass to. What a great play.
Just watch Mets Mets gave up. You can see it.
It's such a hard position to play from.
Yeah.
You're right in the middle. Your car's turned sideways, and you've got someone like K-dot taking a shot against you. Give up, watch, enjoy. So Method needs to try and turn this around. Struggled for early pressure, but now off this kickoff, they can try and mount something. Magnus didn't quite get the contact he wanted and actually passed it straight over to Violent Panda, who has just come up after being demoed. Method giving up a lot of space in the midfield area. Something that they need to try and sort out. It's also a case of them needing the boost to actually go for it. Salot keeps it in the corner. He's been pulled out of the play. Turbo Pulsar has got Caleb over to the side. Couldn't quite get himself onto the side of the board to push it over.
And to kind of touch on the conversation that Gibbs and I had on the desk with Axel.
There's going to be another shot. It's towards the net. There's 2 players committed.
We'll touch on the conversation in a second. Violent Panda able to push this through, and this really just came from Turbo Pulsar putting on the pressure. A lot in Magnus, both dedicating for that, and that again, the double commit. But again, when you look at Method, they played so well against Flipside when they had control. Yep. But notice, they have 0 shots.
They're in nada.
A save apiece. They're all literally across the board. 0, 0, 1, 0. Only with a 1 in the saves column for all 3 of them. But since they're not able to get control, you can't see that awesome offense that you saw them pull off for Flipside. Because right now, Gale Force, they're ramped up, you know, from just recently playing, and they feel like they've got the pace right now.
Gale Force with the team with the most to prove heading into this series. This will be a big win for them, and they're going to go 3 goals up in complete control of this game.
Yeah, 2 coming up. Mets and a lot trying to do that. Magnus going for the backboard, thinking he could make it, but that clear was just too high. And that comes from the clear placements as well. If you're going to get a hard clear and assume it's just going to smack backboard, someone's going to save it, there's a couple places you can put it where if they're not there already, they can't get it. And that, right on that corner, right above the net, is probably the best spot.
A couple of areas around there that no one can deal with anything. Method, we're on shot watch here. Trying to see if they can put anything even towards the net, let alone score it. So a lot trying to go the entire length of the pitch, but Violent Panda has it covered now. Gets it over to Turbo. Goes off the side. Gale Force just need to wind this game down. Do not want any dramatics, but Magnus wanted to put it straight down. He's actually managed to get over to Metzenaris. 1 minute 18, 3 goals to 1.
If Magnus got this shot, I was going to mention how quickly he got up for this. He actually got up so fast that he tricked out Turbo Pulsa. And that whole scenario left a wide open shot for Metzenaris. It's 2 goals in a minute 20 is very, very possible for Method.
They're going to have to try and find a way through right now. Their first opportunity on the net of the game, and they do convert it into a goal. They have to do it again, though. Magnus is available to search for a lot. Managed to pull 2 players out. Caleb has to play the smart. Metzenaris goes barreling in. Can't get there. Magnus was going to be left alone, but a lot does help him out with a big demo. Just struggling to control the ball, though. We're heading into the final 50 seconds of game number 1. Turbo Pulsar levers it towards the net. Violent Panda. Was that shot in?
It was at least inside of the post, but it bounced right back out.
Okay, well, that happened. Gonna still be 40 seconds left in this match. Method still trailing by 2. Metzenaris gets himself up high, forcing pressure. Violent Panda has to try and win, and he does. Going to allow the ball to go over to Kadon. Another big clear, another big shot, and another big lead. Gale Force have wrapped up game 1.
And this is what happens when a pro player gets caught off guard. He had control in time. That bounce came off so far, and Violent Panda was so salty. That shot didn't go.
We are going to be very, very happy that you guys can't see the team chat right now. It is.
Violent Panda thought that nasty redirect was in, and he's a little sad he didn't get to see that in the replays, but at least he can, have some consolidation that they will get the victory for the first game, coming in strong first in the series, especially after seeing Method looking so promising in their series against Flipside.
Okay. All right, well, at least the gameplay was calmer from them than the actual team chat. As Gale Force take the very first game, Violent Panda and Kalop both picking themselves up braces.
I'm with you, Violent Panda. I wish that had gone in too.
So, Method. It's going to take us a little while to recover from that one. Let's try to. Method looking better towards the second half of that game.
Yeah.
But
look at the shots, though.
It was one-sided.
13 shots Gale Force had on net. 3 assists. 3 out of 4 of those goals were assisted, which means they're working together as a team. And they weren't doing it didn't feel terribly creative. Again, just a lot of backboard pressure, pushing it through. But then you said they adapted all of a sudden. In one play, in just one touch, they're like, I'm sick of the backboard. Let's go mid. And it resulted in a goal immediately. Because they felt like they had something going. Method's like, okay, we got the pattern. We're just going to keep rotating the net. And all of a sudden it's in midfield. They're like, oh no, we don't have anybody there. And that's when you can get those clean shots over to the upper 90.
Well, Method slow to start last series around. They'll have to try and set this one up a little bit quicker. Right? 2 reverse sweeps in one day. It has been done. Thank you, Leftovers. We're always going to have to make mention of you in these sort of situations. But so difficult to pull off against 2 of the top teams in Europe in the forms of Flipside Tactics and Gale Force eSports. They won't want to try and force that situation upon themselves. And they can do that by playing a much stronger game here in game number 2 of this series. We're looking towards those middle boosts and actually towards Method's own 2 back boosts. See if they can keep control of those. Because the rotation is very strong right now on the side of Gale Force eSports. There's going to be a 1-2 play off that backboard. They force the movement. Gale Force are so fast.
That counterattack is mind-blowing. Violent Panda nearly striking that 3. He must be a little more pissed again. And that, was a little fortunate. That bounced right back up into K-Dot, but I think that may have snuck in anyways. but that is trusting your teammates, reading their touches. Great counterattack from Gale Force eSports.
There's going to be yet another opportunity. Perfection Carpet has its limits. Unfortunately, in Rocket League, we have still not been able to find those limits. As a lot will take control of the ball. Taking too much time, though, and K-Dot will happily take that ball back over. Gale Force want to continue back from where they were in game number 2. Keep that pressure on in the midfield half. But they've managed to steal a couple of boosts towards the middle area. A lot has at least delay the Gale Force rotation. You can actually see it right there. Both players from Gale Force forced to move back to get boost. Allow Method to start moving themselves forward. K-Dot with full control, looking for Turbo Pulsar, always looking for those infield plays.
Even just the way they come out of their own defensive half, it just seems rudimentary for them. Violent Panda put it to the corner, and he just knew K-Dot would be there. He didn't even look. He didn't even bother looking for in the cam. He just knew K-Dot would be there to help carry it out and then go out as a pair. They really just have the structure down.
Junior out for Method. Turbo Pulsar has been removed from the plate, but once again taking so much time. But the opportunity does go to waste. They've slowed down significantly, this Method squad has. They've got to try and find their way back in to the pace. There's a lot. Now puts that one straight down. Will there be any follow-up? No, Medsnaris takes his time. There's going to be no follow-up for the time being as K-Dot plays that just over the top. Method stuck back on defense. We're going to head into the final 3 minutes. A much tighter game, and Magnus can go the entire length of the pitch until K-Dot gets there. Back in time, shot off the post. A lot will hit a brick wall of K-Dot and Turbo Pulsar. Best opportunity for Method, but they couldn't make strong contact on an open net.
Oh, another open net, but K-Dot will get there yet again.
Gale Force get away with it. They hold on to their 1-goal lead. A lot plays just over the top, but K-Dot holds himself all the way back on the rotation. Medsnaris has got an opportunity to move forward. That backboard's just being allowed to be played. Nice from that Gale Force. Just checking out the rest of the field, recognizing the fact that Method weren't going to send anybody for the follow-up, and just controlling the ball. Back into the midfield. Magnus got an opportunity, but Turbo Pulsar, strong challenge from him. Gets over to the side. Lux wants to play this off the wall. There will be no follow-up, though. So we'll go straight back to Turbo Pulsar, and every single time this happens, we're heading into the crunch end of the Rocket League half. Violent Panda looking for the follow-up. Want to try and set up off that backboard, but couldn't quite get there, and a lot takes control. There's a lot. Going to try and go for the 1v1 play. Lovely pass over to the side. A lot to Magnus. Magnus to net. And now we're tied up.
And there's the pace that they struggled with before. You were talking about it a bit earlier in some of their plays where they would get so close and they were just maybe a second and a half away from actually putting the shot on target. But someone is always able to retreat back in time on defense. But that time they were finally able to bully them out of the way, and they tied up in game number 2.
Absolutely crucial for Method as well, registering their 2nd goal of this series. Going to need to try and pick up more if they want to have any chance of taking down GFV. Another big clear from Magnus. We're going to head into the final 90 seconds of this game soon enough, where mistakes are just all that much more costly in a tied game like the match we have on our hands right now. Looking to go all the way. I'm surprised K-Dot didn't try and just take that ball away from Medsnaris.
Oh, he thought about it.
Oh, you can believe he's always thinking about it. They always want to take the ball away from absolutely everybody. Turbo Pulsar thinks better of it, and Magnus just pans the ball into the corner, and now Gale Force can go onto the other end. Violent Panda trying to force a block, but well delayed from the oncoming defender.
And it seems that Method they're definitely ramping up. They got some more fuel in the tank right now. They're burning it pretty fast, but you can see that they are starting to meet them at the ball. A lot more contests. Gale Force doesn't have as much room for these cheats and pass plays, but Turbo.
Oh, that's going to be on the goal line, and there is Turbo Pulsar to turn in his own shot. 52 seconds remaining. GFV are back in the lead.
Yeah, Matt's only had 21 boosts going for that, so he didn't have time to truly get that drift in to find the inside of that ball in the save. And with 52 seconds left, Gale Force find themselves in the lead.
And it is all down to boost control yet again for Gale Force. Every single time they get a chance, they just trust each other so much that there is the option there to spend the extra 5 or 10 seconds looking around, steal any boost that you want to from Method, because you have that trust in your teammates not to make any defensive mistakes.
Yeah, and I mentioned it before, and correct me if I'm wrong, Joking, but I feel like teams that rely on that have an exceptional weakness to things like bumps and demolitions.
Yeah, it's something that we have seen. It is very much a, okay, now you only have one line of defense left.
Yeah.
But if you can play in the correct way and avoid yourself from being sat still, there's going to be a shot on net. TurboPulsar can't get there on time. Magnus squeezes it through the bottom.
Also, again, now trying to trust. They trusted Turbo would get that. K-Dop trying to find himself on the inside of that net, and then they both went for the hop-up. Those are tough to do, but that's what happens when you rely on your teammate. All it takes is one tiny mistake, and you're all thrown for a loop.
I've never seen you being proven so right so quickly.
Yep.
Does it feel good, Captain?
It feels great. Always feels great, Shogun.
Worthy of the RLCS analyst title in-game.
Oh, no, let's not talk about that.
That's the only reason why we play.
Just to show off the title.
Just to have that question, what is an RLCS analyst? But big question left is, will that go in? No! Charging shooter came in. Metsnaris picks up the Savior medal to end off regular time. K-Dop wants to try and barrel his way through. Method will happily get rid of that. Now the rotation back from Violent Panda. This will be end-to-end gameplay from both these squads. Going to be crucial for Method to get the goal as well, but TurboPulsar receives that pass, and GALE Force eSports, is there anything they do better?
I mean, how did Violent Panda, he found himself out there again, he jumped for that clear, and that is taking advantage of a position that you put yourself in, and that's where a lot of these teams are leaning towards, but GALE Force really seem to be pioneering it sometimes. If you're gonna go for a hard clear and you're gonna either miss or it's gonna get cleared past you and you're on defense, now that you're up at midfield, you might as well make use of it. Now you're in a position for a pass, and GALE Force does it so many times to give themselves these game-ending goals.
Well, we're going to now take a look at K-Dop's ridiculous save. The shot from Magnus, not enough. The ball running away from him, and on zero boost, that was the best he could manage. Shades of Cooksir. We saw Cooksir do it earlier on as well. These players do not give up on anything. And when you've got games like that one, where one goal is the difference, it is those defensive situations which do mean the difference.
And the better you get at that retreating defense when you can do that, is the more that you can start to commit on offense, because you know that you're all, qualified enough to come back and make saves at the tightest of angles with barely any time, with barely any boost. And the better you get at that, the more you can start committing to offense, because you don't have to risk as much going back. Like, yeah, whatever, I can get back and get that. Don't sweat it. I'm good enough for this. I'm Cooks here. Don't worry about it. So I think that the better that we see that, we'll start to see more and more shots and people dedicating to these crazy plays on offense, because retreating defense won't be nearly as daunting.
No, it certainly will not be. Right. So, Method, tell me if you've done this one before. 2 games down. Gonna go into our 3rd game. Must win. Oh, wait, they did it earlier on today.
A few hours ago.
Can they do it against GALE Force eSports, though? That is the question we are about to find out the answer to. Although Method looking much better in that previous game. More goals, but a lot more shots as well, which actually helped them get those goals.
Not many other ways to get goals there, Shogun.
Absolutely not. That's my grand champion coming in right there. I'm so good at this game. TurboPulsar getting it into the corner. He's got... There's Violent Panda actually over in the corner. He had TurboPulsar up in support. Ball goes up high. Here comes Method. Their opportunity to try and put some plays together, but those balls off the backboard have to be coming off that and ricocheting off that backboard so much harder if you want a player to run in for a shot. A lot with a flick up. Already know that you can hit those negative angles. Goal that really helped Method out last week. Violent Panda just struggling for boost. Can't do anything with that. Tried to get a block that never came.
Another came in Meta in the same boat. Both not much boost. Just trying to do their best to outplay each other with not much momentum behind them. But thankfully for Meta, he was able to get around that ball in time and clear it out for his team.
A lot trying to use the ceiling. Lovely block there. Tries to take down Violent Panda as well. TurboPulsar comes in first. And Method could have got a player to that quicker. Would have been very difficult for GFE to deal with. TurboPulsar playing bumper cars, removing one player and allowing K-Dop to move himself forward. A lot of creativity coming out from GALE Force with their plays. They can win this one. They'll go 2-1 in the league play. A match that they really must win.
You can see Violent Panda again at that midpoint, trying to be a target for his teammates. He's been doing such a great job just helping GALE Force clear it from their half.
Another long ball. It's going to be K-Dop. Just too slow, though. Passes in this game, pretty much, you cannot afford to loft them. They have to be almost shots straight into the body of the card that you're aiming for. So difficult to do as well, because such little margin for error. Otherwise, the running on player is going to struggle with it. We're still all tied up, though, heading into the second half of this game. Violent Panda wants to take control of Metznaris, but every single time we see the midfield being played, Method are doing a good job forcing blocks, but unfortunately there's never anyone on the follow-up. That means they're giving up pressure every single time. Now Gale Force looking to use as much width of the field as they possibly could, trying to stretch Method's defense. There's a big block from Metznaris. And a lot finally moving in. Turbopulsar gets bumped by a lot, and Magnus can move himself in. Crucial.
Giving him a bit of a taste of his own medicine there. A lot on his way out, just smacking Turbopulsar. You even saw him try and flip to try and keep his ground, but it did not matter. Magnus had a wide open net due to his team play. But you were just mentioning it. We see a lot of great 50-50s and contests from Method, but then no one's there to follow it up. It almost feels like they're just too scared to come out of net with Gale Force coming down on their half.
If it was going to be a problem before, we have a problem now. That's going to be a shot off the crossbar. Metznaris cannot get the save.
You can see why.
Yeah, that was a nice lead whilst you had it.
It wasn't long enough, but K-Dop there trying to find Turbopulsar on the back. Even though he went up for that, Metznaris just didn't have the momentum or the boost to get out there in time.
Jumped a long way as well.
Yeah. Tied up now, though. 2 minutes left. Can Gale Force take the sweep?
It's going to be such a useful sweep as well to take down the currently undefeated Method in such convincing fashion. That is almost an own goal from Magnus. Gonna have to buy a lot something nice later on. Preventing that for going in. Method haven't got any access to boost in the middle area. We saw both a lot and Magnus both on 0. Metznaris on 34. This is exactly the problem that Method have had all series long. So difficult to prevent or start any play when you've got nothing to work with.
Yeah, they're just toying with them at this point. They know they have no boost. They're just going to keep taking shots. You can see they're all grounded. They can't do anything.
This backboard is going to be used. Magnus has to do well with it, but cannot continue with the air dribble. Going to allow Gale Force to keep putting pressure on the net. They refuse to go away. K-Dop is being a complete nuisance to Magnus. Frankly, it was a lot that was required in that play. It's Magnus now, another long ball. Turbopulsar will be forced to deal with it. Magnus can move in. They need to try and do well with this to get anything sorted out, and he almost did. Method need to pick up everything. They cannot afford for any whiffs, otherwise they will give up offensive pressure in a game that they must win.
It really feels like Method are just intimidated at this point. They only have 2 shots in comparison to the 9 that Gale Force have put up. Method, even when they do get it out of their half, they seem too scared to dedicate.
This is exactly why the first time they've actually tried to go for a passing play, they almost got punished on the counter-attack. Have got away with it. Victim on Violent Panda, going to allow opportunities, as a lot was also looking for Turbopulsar. Still made this difficult. Cutting infield pass over to Magnus. Method starting to look more like themselves. If they can take this win, we'll have a serious series on our hands. Gale Force will want to finish this series right now. There is a shot, a lot forced to save. Violent Panda almost ended it. As K-Dop with yet another. Metznaris pushes it over to the corner. Turbopulsar's got one more opportunity to go for a set. It's too weak though. Overtime. And this could be over if Gale Force can pick up this next goal. Metznaris has got an opportunity. He's got an open net. He hasn't got boost, but it will not matter. Let's go to game 4.
Method just trying to stay alive, and Metznaris, the moment he saw that missed touch, no one got it from the side. That is definitely not the kind of thing you generally see in an overtime that has so much weight. Gale Force could have pulled themselves out of that series. That could have been it for them, giving themselves yet another win this week. But Method looking to try and recreate what they pulled off earlier against Flipside Tactics. Can they get yet another reverse sweep? They have a hill in front of them.
I feel like they looked better in the last game.
Yeah.
But they pick up the win in this one. They don't care about anything about like that. They've got to do it 2 more times.
Yeah.
That is going to be very tough for them. But if there's ever been a week for it, it will be this week. The Rocket League on show for our NA and in EU has been incredible. Ghost yesterday taking the upset win over NRG. Even last week we had ridiculous wins like Frontline going 2-0. This week Method have already got themselves a reverse sweep. maybe.
I mean,
we just have one more ridiculous result left.
The biggest thing is just showing that composure. I think a lot, especially with competitive Rocket League, a lot of people get frustrated with themselves or with their teammates. And once you start losing, especially in situations where you feel like you shouldn't be losing or when you feel like you're not playing your game, and obviously right now it doesn't feel like Method are playing the same game we saw them playing earlier. But that's because Gale Force saw that weakness. They're like, you want to do creative midfield passing plays? Well, we're just not going to let you breathe. Yes. We're going to make you react so quickly you have no choice but to hard clear it right back into us, and then we're going to have all the fun. We're going to do all the creative plays. And since Method are so timid to pull out, it's giving Gale Force a lot of the control. But again, all it takes is that one tiny mistake. Since Gale Force spaces out and trusts each other so much, one mistake can throw the entire game.
Well, Method, they've made 1 of 3 steps on their way. So we head over to the SART BC Special, Urban Central, for our 4th game. Gale Force will want to prevent Method from starting to get back to their old selves. More passing plays actually start to come out towards the final minute of that previous game from Method. Gale Force just needs to cut out those small, silly mistakes, though. There's going to be a shot there, and that was not small, that was silly, that was big, that was brutal. Violent Panda 1-0.
I don't know which one you were actually referring to, but either way, Violent Panda, I imagine he's still pretty angry about that shot that didn't go in. So he just wants to put as many up as possible and try and recreate something close to as pretty. But Violent Panda right now, being a menace, so quick to the ball and even faster to the shot.
Very good way for Gale Force to start off this game, removing the bad taste from their mouths, and Method immediately respond.
All right, we're just going to chalk this one up to, I guess, 2 kickoff goals back and forth. Kid Up really should have had that in time, and he had the boost for it as well. You saw him going plenty after that. He just missed that trajectory, misjudged the ball bounce, and now tied up 4 minutes and 25 seconds remaining.
Always seems like there's 2 different styles of games at Rocket League. It's either the 1-goal game, where everyone's very defensive and doesn't quite know how to make their impact on the game, and then you just get the chaotic one. One where every single shot seems to go in.
It's like an unwritten agreement these teams make.
Maybe we'll get another one of those right here. Although these teams will be hoping to now settle themselves down. Effectively look at this like a brand new game. First minute is now over and done with. Method will take control of the ball. They just power it straight down to Gale Force. They've taken control of the ball and can take control of the pressure. I originally didn't quite like the idea of them hitting it so long. But the challenges from Method looking a lot more solid. It's meaning Gale Force are struggling to play the ball out as easily as they were in the opening 2 games. That is a bad touch from a lot, but he does manage to recover.
It's okay to play long, I think, as long as you have an intention. So why are you clearing it? I think the idea is, all right, we just need like 2 seconds to gather up, and the person that clears it, which we saw earlier from Method, that person that cleared it just ends up going to a cheating position and giving themselves, making themselves a target. Oh my.
A lot didn't want to see any Magnus players there, just put it straight back in the corner, allowing Gale Force, though, to now remain in an offensive position. Teleporter wanted to get the flick. No one was around for him to pass to anyway. A lot looking jumpy here in defense. A couple of times that he's gone for the ball when he hasn't quite needed to. Instead, in there just for the sweep up. It's Magnus jumps. He's on very little boost. Metznaris, though, comes in for the block on Violent Panda. Gale Force looking like they are back in control of those middle 2 boosts. That is allowing them to just control that midfield and put Method back into a position exactly the same as it was in those opening 2 games. Turbo off that backboard. Magnus still up there. There's going to be a shot, and Metznaris lethal out of nowhere on the counter-attack. It was all Gale Force until it was Metznaris.
I'm a little surprised this went in. Violent Panda, I guess, thought he could have that contest, and K-Dop was waiting for maybe a second drive. That's why he was a little slow to that. He figured that wouldn't sneak by Violent Panda because all he had to do was kind of contest that into 50-50 and it would pin straight across net. But I think just that tiny missed timing allowed Metznaris to get that shot. Now they're up in the lead, trying to get a second game in the series.
That is those tiny mistakes that do cost you at this level of Rocket League. K-Dop missing the ball in that overtime of the previous game. Will yet another mistake be the cost or the difference maker between these two teams in game number 4. Meth can hold on to this. They will force a tie-breaking game between them. A lot plays it down. There is going to be the follow-up. Metznaris almost scooped it above the net. Any better contact, and we would be looking at a 3-1 lead. Oh, Turbo Pulsar. Okay, he can shoot.
It is a 2-1 lead.
It's a 3-1 now.
2-goal lead.
Is now.
I'm guessing that just, I mean, those straight down bounces are you saw him react late to that. He thought it would hit the corner and go straight down, but then it hit the ceiling and then the backboard, but still kind of went straight down, and he bit of a panic thinking it would be contested because Method had so much control on that drive. So many touches to each other, really conscious. Oh, another attack. Oh my God. Method are just tearing away with this game.
It's happening. Method.
It's happening.
The first 2 games looking shaky, coming out, stealing game 3, and in game 4, they have put themselves in a very comfortable position. We could very well be going to game 5 yet again. VIP looking to try and make sure that that is not the case, but a lot effectively trapping the ball up against the top of the net. An extra opportunity for Gale Force to move in. They will take advantage of it. Such incredible discipline from K-Dop to put that across.
There is no way Metznaris is getting this save. Absolutely no way. Looking from his camera angle, he knew the moment that that wasn't on target, he's like, oh, this is past someone, isn't it? This is going to go right past me. There's really nothing he can do in a situation like that. You look at that defender, and if it's ever a 2-on-1 where they have that much control, it's not the defender's fault.
Metznaris just couldn't do anything. But can Gale Force do something about their current situation? 1 goal down, 2 to go. 1 minute remaining. Almost managed to put it within 1 more. But Violent Panda's shot was saved. Magnus back over into the corner, but Turbo Pulsar will control. He's got K-Dop over to the side. Couldn't make any contact. K-Dop, though, comes in. You get the feeling if Turbo Pulsar could have hit it with the bumper of his car, that would have been a shot for K-Dop to turn in.
They've still got control in this drive. Nice pass.
Method, they did this earlier against Flipside, got caught in defense for so long. Heart in your mouth stuff from them earlier. And it seems like they're doing it yet again. They are trusting in their ability to defend. Metznaris pulls himself out. Turbo Pulsar with the shot. Magnus gets the 2nd save, and Metznaris will now drive this out of defense. Method, say what you want about their lack of ability to control the midfield. Defensively, they are solid. Heading into the final 7 seconds of this game, Gale Force needs something right now. They will not get it unless they can get this in. It will not happen. Carpet!
Shogun!
Press the real match button. Let's go to game 5.
Speaking of discipline, their defense Method being able to never double commit the moments they don't need to, still gathering boosts, still retreating. I was following Metznaris' cam, and even when it was bouncing out, they still stayed cool and calm. They stayed grounded when they needed to. They were able to push it out to the corners. They didn't panic. And that kind of thing is what lets Method stay in the lead. And you wonder, what happens those first 2 games? Why is it the first 2 games of both these last series, we've seen a shaky Method, and all of a sudden they've turned into something nearly unbreakable, unbeatable, especially on defense?
I want to see both of these teams at their best heading into this last game. 9 saves overall for Method. That will put them in the top 10 for most saves in a game. And it's been needed. Gale Force are putting on ridiculous pressure.
We need to get ourselves a real match button fabricated. Like, we need to make one.
We need one, like, right here for us.
But it's got to be saved for, like, the perfect moments.
It would, right now, would be the perfect moment.
I think, like, all lights go out, just 2 spotlights on us. It's, like, pitch black in the studio. It's a real match.
Can we get in contact with the producer? That would be absolutely incredible.
We'll talk to him after, but either way,
we'll get that to you.
Method right now, bringing it to game 5 after losing the first 2, when it looked like GFE was just going to take it away. They find themselves in a position to give themselves a 2nd reverse sweep of the day. Can they pull it off? The way it's looking right now, it's definitely possible.
Definitely indeed. Let's go for it. Game 5, tiebreaker. Gale Force eSports versus Method. Will happen later.
Well,
it will happen later.
We're just, we're trying to ramp things up. We're trying to get everyone anticipated excitement. This is like that tease of like, is it happening? It's like, we got to keep you in the edge of your seat somehow.
Staring at everyone. Yeah, it didn't happen.
We're at a real event now. I mean, it's just one of those situations where, they want to make sure that everything's perfect, especially when there's so much on the line. I imagine there was some kind of complication. But either way, just a minute or two, we'll be right back into that. Gale Force eSports right now. have all the pressure on them. They had the series, they had it in the bag, but Method really started to ramp it up and show us what we saw earlier in the Flipside series. I mean, Shogun, with your expertise, is there anything that you see particularly that either of these teams are lacking in that is really what's making the other team score for them?
I think you hit it on the nail on the head earlier perfectly. Right now, the way Gale Force plays, it works phenomenal if they can break down that defense and score goals. Right now, it is the worst possible situation for them because they are taking on a ridiculous defense. A defense that I would never agree to on any other team unless it was Method getting the amount of saves that they are. And it goes to what you said. One mistake is what is costing them every single time. As soon as that rotation breaks down even a little bit, low boost, a missed touch, a bad clear, they cannot maintain. It allows Method, who just know how to put the ball on net, to move themselves down to the other end and get the goal. This is all going to come down to whether or not Gale Force can break down the defense. That really is the story here.
Yeah, and I think another big, I don't want to say flaw, but a difficulty of that style of play is you won't be able to get the demolitions and bumps that you see against strong defensive teams because they are spaced out and they're almost always in the air. They're getting the nasty touches. They're finding those really tight angles, but that means they're never on the ground long enough to really get a bump. They're just stealing boost and getting ready for the next shot.
So game number 5. This time, we're not going to tease you with him. We're going to get straight into this one. Method looking for their second reverse sweep of the day against the Gale Force squad that has just been able to exert their style of gameplay throughout the series. So here comes Kate up looking for the shot. That's going to be put on the far side. Violent Panda now back into the middle. Top also with the shot, hits the post. And they've got a saying in boxing, Carpet, styles make fights. Puncher, counter-puncher. That is these two teams down to the absolute definition of their play style so far in this series.
I can't imagine the adrenaline. The adrenaline from thinking that you're so close to scoring to realizing that you're going against a team that might score on you right in return, because the threats of both of these teams right now are at top level.
Guarantee you they are feeling it. I messaged Magnus last week to congratulate him on his wins. He told me he was sweating in places that I cannot repeat. Can only imagine what it's like for this. Still also going to take control. With a pass over to the middle. K-Dot can take over. 90 seconds into this matchup. Still nothing between them. Gale Force on the offensive end. Norris can't get there. VIP.
The control he has driving this in, and there's the creativity. Do you see how long Gale Force just played with it in Method's half? They kept doing it into the corner, passing it into the middle. Didn't even matter, and then Violent Panda got full control of that in that dribble, and no one on Method could read what he was doing.
Time to press the accelerator, Method. You are down by 1, and Gale Force can be very happy with that. I feel like maybe, well, definitely considering the situation, a slightly longer break in between games would suit them. Give them an opportunity just to talk to each other a little bit more, calm each other down, and go into this game. There is another shot levered onto the net. Magnus this time with a save, and a lot looking for the clear. Method now need to put some stuff together. Going to be a struggle though with a lot taken out of the play, but they are going to try. And sometimes you just have to be an absolute demon on the ball.
He was considering the pass, but in the moment he had control and Turbo wasn't there, he's like, all right, I guess I'll just take it myself. He places himself underneath the ball and just doots it right back in. It's 3 minutes left.
It's been a long time since I've seen a professional Doomsy dish.
Oh yeah.
Gonna see it yet again. Metanaris puts a shot on net. All tied up in game number 5. Crucial series for both of these teams. Method, if they take this win, they will guarantee top 6. Heading into the last 3 weeks of gameplay. It's going to be a passing play, looking for that backboard. K-Dot can't quite, he actually managed to get there just in time, tipping it away from the oncoming offensive player. So yet another long ball comes in. Magnus down to a lot. These passing plays are coming out from everyone. Metanaris gets there in time. Carpet.
I don't know how I'm supposed to do this, man.
It's a great job that we have when we get to watch stuff like this.
That is unbelievable. That redirect onto the backboard, he wasn't going for the shot. He wanted to make sure that he pulls someone out of that net, and successfully he does so. Method now, 1 goal up, just past halftime. Can they get this reverse sweep?
Gale Force go from 1-0 up to Method being up 2-1. 2 minutes and 15 now remaining. Method looking like they are starting to control that midfield area as we reach deeper and deeper into this series. Be interested to see how Method choose to go about this. A lot of teams now choosing to just pressure whenever we start reaching towards the deep ends of these games with a lead, rather than seeing more defensive teams turtle up. There's going to be a shot over to the side. Pass over from Kate up the Turbo Pulsar. Tried to play too early. They wanted to try and get a pass without the ball touching the ground. Violent Panda up in the air. Metznaris is there in time. Minute and 37 remaining. This is starting to become a very dire situation for GFE. They've been so close to winning this series for so long now, but it is starting to slip unless they can find one more way. Turbo Pulsar goes for the shot, safe from Magnus. And Violent Panda will keep it up. GFE have been in this position numerous times. Consistent pressure. They need to make it work this time around. I want to see someone go for a bump on a defender, but every single time they look for it, someone on Method is on the backboard where you just can't aim for them.
And on top of it, they really just want to make sure that they're retreating back for the shot. You want to get an angle, and although GFE can pretty much make angles out of anything, they want to at least retreat enough, which is what makes it so difficult for them to get the bumps.
50 remaining now. Turbo Pulsar tries to take it down the other end of the field. Metznaris, though, once again over there. Gale Force allowing the ball to be played. Turbo Pulsar, early shot from him. That's going to be a save from Magnus, but still GFE in a position of pressing the ball towards the offensive end. Another long ball, though. These passes from Method are their saving grace every time they want to get the ball out of defense, leaving someone in the midfield line. And it means that not only are they getting the clear, but they're not handing it straight back over to GFE. It removes an extra player.
And you can tell that GFE doesn't have anyone waiting up at midfield anymore because Method keeps putting on so much pressure, and the demolition as well, really ruining their rotations.
7 seconds remaining. GFE got one final opportunity, but it's going to be so difficult to put together. It now cannot touch the floor. A lot will get there in time. Here's the sidewall, but Method have done it. 2 reverse sweeps in 1 week. They have made top 6. And right now, top 2 is firmly within their sights.
You talked about him sweating last week, man. I can't imagine the sweat coming out of these 3 guys this week. 2 reverse sweeps, once against Flipside, another against Gale Force eSports. They have started off this season as amazingly as they could, and they show us how skilled they are. It might take them a bit to ramp up, but if they can just ever start off a series, game 1, like they ever show us in game 3, they're going to be nearly unbeatable.
Revenge has been taken. Gale Force taking the Universal Open, the 2v2 tournament, Method coming back and dashing their hopes in the RLCS. We might see these guys again in the future. I would not be surprised if we saw it again in regionals, but for the time being, that's all you get for at least another month.
I don't know what to say about this Method squad. I know that we had all really excited to see how they came in from last season in the practice, and clearly practice has paid off for these guys, and they have shown they want this win probably more than anybody.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Method take the win in a reverse sweep. Let's go over to Axel Toss and see what the boys have got to say about that.
Oh man, we don't have to say much. Just let the players do their thing. What another incredible match here. Method, another reverse sweep. There's so much to be said about this match. Honestly, I feel like we could make a saves montage with just Method. They just do not, when it matters, when it's super important, they will not allow a goal. They won't. There's no reason to think any differently at this point.
Carpet said it well. Like if we ever saw game 5 Method in games 1 and 2, these reverse sweeps would be happening. It'd just be sweeps all the way by Method. Yeah. They always have a few weak things to figure out, so a few chinks in the armor in games 1 and 2, and then it just becomes impenetrable in the latter half of the series.
Incredible form there from Method, going 4-0 in the standings. Let's take a look at the Mobile One high performance replay. We're going to see lots of good shots, but also probably some pretty epic saves in this replay.
And it's incredible for Method. A 5-game series, every single game they got outshot. Yet they still win the series. The first team ever to have 2 reverse sweeps in the same day as well. And they make top 6 going. So
and
they will be in
against Flipside and Gale Force.
Yeah. It's not a bad week for Method. They should go out and celebrate for sure. But Gale Force was putting on that pressure. Just some weak touches, I thought, from Turbo once in a while on the offensive side that was costing them a couple goals. I thought Violent Panda played brilliantly with the passes. And then just once in a while, they would just get too aggressive, just a tiny bit too aggressive, and that's when Magnus or Metz would come in with some goals. This play was amazing for Metz.
Yeah.
He fakes out Turbo and then comes around with the Doomsy dish. What a play there. And you can't say enough about Method. They performed incredibly. I think at some point, like defensive teams, I worry about them of like, you can't win every series by getting outshot in every single game.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to have to figure out something there, but it worked this week.
But
It's crazy.
Who else is really in their way at this point? You know, I mean, they've got
Yeah.
Frontline to deal with, but other than that, they've taken care of Envious, they've taken care of Flipside, and they've taken care of Gale Force. These guys are on a roll right now.
Incredible play from Method, and I feel like those of you who play Rocket League, perhaps a few, you can take a lot from that. You know, one of the questions might be, how do I get forward in the ranks? How can I become a better Rocket League player? And one of the first answers there is solid defense. Consistent defense. If you play too far forward, you're leaving yourself open to mistakes. So if you can really get secure on defense, it can really pay off for you in the long run. And Method just showing how amazing a solid defense could be. What an incredible series from them. Incredible day from Method. They're going to move up to 4-0 in the standings. Gale Force going to be at 2-2. How many people would have predicted that? Ladies and gentlemen, we have one more match to go, and it could be better than all the matches we've seen today. It's very possible. We have amazing matchup here. It's Envy, I should say, going up against Flipside Tactics. So much history, so many storylines coming into this final match of the day. You're watching League play for the European region in RLCS Season 4. When we come back, it's Envy versus Flipside. Stay tuned.